Can you share the PPT? Is it visible?
No, sir.
Is visible, na?
No, sir. PPT is not visible.
Okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So last day we talk about the communication system up to that. So today I will discuss little bit about the thing that is required for the communication system, like the resource sharing. That means whatever the resource in we have, we need to share those things. So there, that means for sharing this thing or accessing the resources, there are some techniques is there, which is called the multiple access techniques. Basically, the multiple access techniques permits the communication resource of the channel to be shared by a large number of users seeking to the communicate with each other. That means, suppose we have a only one frequency band, say on kilohertz. Okay. So now, if we consider that 200 hertz is required for a on channel, that means that on kilohertz channel can be divided into five sub channel. So that after dividing the 1 kilohertz bandwidth into five sub channel, each of the sub channel bandwidth have the 200 hertz. Okay. So that means one user can use the one channel. Then that five sub channel will be shared among the all the users. Okay. Basically, there is a difference between the multiple access and multiplexing. What is the multiplexing? Anyone? Multiplexing, all of you study in, I think, your digital electronics and also the time division multiplexing or frequency division multiplexing in communication system, I hope. So what is basically the multiplexing?
Sir, the use of a single band channel for passing of several message signals.
Okay, that means the thing is that we are not sharing over there. In case of multiplexing, what is happening? Whatever the channels we are there, we are means combining all the channels together and sending through a single channel. That is the multiplexing. So now if you recall the digital multiplexer in the digital electronics, so in the digital multiplexer, what is there? Four inputs line, say 4:1 multiplexer. That means four input line is there on output line. Then four different channel. If we consider that four input line as the four channel and there is a one output channel. So that means in the multiplexing, all the channels will be combined together and it will sent through a single medium or transmission medium. Okay. And the multiple access is referred to basically the remote sharing of the communication channels such as the satellite or radio channel, whatever. In sometimes it is also is your transmission medium, a physical transmission medium like your cable, cable or optical fiber. Those thing is also there. And in this multiplexing, already told that referring the share of a channel such a telephone channel. In the telephone channel, what is happening there? The multiplexing is happening over there. Okay. And the multiple access is happening normally in case of internet. if you look at the internet, how the resources are sharing, so that means everything is controlled by the network, that architecture of the network, and based on that they are sharing the whatever the channels we have. So normally for the multiplexing system, user requires for the ordinarily fixed, means whatever the channels we have for the multiplexing, if there are 4 channel is there, that means it will be fixed. There is a no dynamic scenario is there. But in case of multiple access, user required can change the dynamically with time. That means in the multiplexing, when a connection is established, that means that channel will be fixed between the 2 users. No one can use in between. But in case of multiple access, suppose there is some ideal case when 2 users are there, they are connecting to each other, and there is some idle time is there. That means the channel is not utilizing those time. In that case, if we go for the multiple access, that idle period can be allotted to the other users. So that is the difference basically for your multiple access and the multiplexing. Okay. So now basically the multiplexing access, it can be divided into 4 categories. One is the frequency division multiple access. What is basically in the frequency division multiple access? So now if we look at the figure, in this figure, what is there in the x-axis? There is a time, and y-axis we divided into frequency. Okay. Suppose we have some frequency range, and we divided that frequency band into 3 sub-band. Frequency band 1, frequency band 2, frequency band 3. So in between 2 frequency band, there is a guard band. What is the requirement of the guard band? Anyone?
So overlapping should not occur, otherwise distortion will be there.
Yes, good. So means to avoid the interference between the consecutive channel, we put some guard band, so there should not be overlapping. So that is the function of the guard band. And what we are doing in FDA, whatever suppose frequency band 1 is there. So that means the frequency band 1 can be used by on channel. Frequency band 2 can be used by the other user or channel. So in that way, the frequency division multiplication axis is happening. That means suppose in this figure, 3 sub-frequency band is there. Frequency band 1, frequency band 2 and 3. Now there are say 5 or 6 user is there. Okay. So now among these 6 users, user 1 want to connect to the user 2 using the frequency band 1. User 3 is connected with the user 4 using the frequency band 2. User 5 is connected with the user 6 using the frequency band 3. So in that way, there will be no overlapping, and we can utilize the channel frequency of the, means total bandwidth of the frequency. So now second one is the time division multiplexing. So what is the difference between the frequency division multiplexing and time division? In the frequency division multiplexing, the frequency band allocate for a pair of users that is present whole the time period. If you look at the time period, there is no discontinuity is there. So that means the time period is total time period is there, or that connection between the 2 users is still there for the whole time period, or time band you can say, time period actually, time slot you can say. Okay. Now in the time division multiple access, what is happening? So we are dividing the time slots into sub time slots. Okay. So same thing is there in that case. Frequency, whatever the total bandwidth we have, that will be allocated for a single channel, a single user for a time slot of say time slot 1. For the next user, same frequency band will be allocated for the time slot 2. Okay, in that pattern, it will continue. That means in the time division multiple access, what we are doing, we are dividing the time slots. And suppose we have a seminar hall. Okay, when you organize any cultural event or any event, that means suppose whole day program is there. So how do you divide it? For particular program, you have allotted a time period, say 1 hour. For the next program, next 1 hour. In that way, you normally arrange all the events. So same thing is happening in that time division multiple access. That means everything will be shared in the time slot. Okay. So now third one is the
So in time division multiplexing, why is there the need of guard time?
guard time is because sometimes it may happen. There is a when if you draw a pulse, suppose the your digital bits is there. That means 0, 1 digital pulse. So now if we normally when you draw in practical, that is exactly the rectangular shape or the pulse shape. But in practically, it is not the actually it is not the pulse shape. There is some rise time or fall time is there. Do you remember those things? What should be the shape?
That's a trapezoidal.
Trapezoidal type of thing is there. That means there is some the top portion. There will be a the width of the. Let me draw the picture. Then it will be clear. So I need to skip. Just wait. Actually, basically for that time guard, it's okay. But, you can see that the whiteboard.
Yes, sir.
Since I am drawing using the mouse, it is not the perfect shape. So normally this is a pulse. Okay, ideal case. But when you're transmitting any beats, normally it takes some times. Sorry. So like that, in practical scenario, the pulse will be because whenever we are starting a transition, it is not immediately response. So it takes some time. So that's why that PPT is visible, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes is the full screen mode. Yes.
And so one more doubt, sir.
Yes.
So in you said that in frequency division multiplexing, if user 1 wants to connect with user 2 using one frequency slot, it can connect. But if user 1 wants to connect with user 3, and if they both
Means at the same time user 1 want to connect with the user 2 and user 3. Is
yes,
it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Makes it.
So there is no problem because whenever one person or one user want to communicate with the two users, that means there will be a until two channel will be allocated. Otherwise, two things may happen over there. Whatever the suppose 3 we divided in this. Just where is the full screen? Full screen mode. Okay. So now see, suppose this is, if this point is the for frequency band one side is the source side is the say user one, and end side is the destination side is the user two. So that in that case they are using the frequency band one. So for frequency band two, in that case, source side there will be user one, and end side or the destination side there will be user three. Means the examples I am given, the we are considering the three different source, three different destination. So one source can be the source for the all three subband over there. It is depending on the one user want to communicate with the how many users. Okay,
Okay.
it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Means there is a no restriction that it should be the user one and user two, it should be user three and user four, it should be user five, user six. Just for the examples I told. So in the time slot, that is the guard time is there. So now the code division multiplexing. So what is the code division multiplexing? Have you heard about that? Have you heard about that CDMA mobile connection?
HTM.
Normally, all of you know about the GSM SIM. So if you go back, I think it's around long back, 10 or 12 years back, even though also there is some provider using also this CDMA. So basically, if you recall the Tata, when the Tata India, what is that term? I am forgetting the name of that operator. Actually, because it belongs to the Tata group, but like a Vodafone or Airtel, like something is there. I'm forgetting the name. So they normally use to the CDMA. So what is the CDMA is happening in the CDMA? It is, we can say it is combining of the two it is a hybrid combination of the FDMA and TDMA. That means here we are dividing the resources in the frequency domain as well as the time domain. So that's mean in the CDMA normally, if you look at the figure and if we compare with the previous two figures, it is divided into frequency slot as well as the time slots. So that means we can say it is a combination of two multiple axis techniques. One is the FDMA and second one is the TDMA. So now what is happening? Say user one, it is using a particular channel or frequency for a particular type slot. User two, oh, okay. So now if I say in the time slot T1, T2 and T3, three time slot is there. Frequency slot is the F1, F2 and F3. It's clear? Time slot and frequency slot. So user one is using frequency slot 1 and time slot 1. User 2 is using frequency slot 1, time slot 2. User 3 is using frequency slot 1, time slot 3. In that process, means the same thing will be happen for your or following by the user 4, user 5, user 6, user 7, user 8 and user 9. Okay, so normally these techniques, the dividing these things we normally called as the frequency hop multiple axis. Also the CDMA also say the hopping of the many employed to ensure that during the successive time slot or frequency band assigned to the user are recorded in the essentially random manner. That means, as I told, the user n is using a slot of F1, frequency band 1 and time slot T1. Okay, so user 1, it may use frequency band 2, time slot 3. There is a no restriction that there is a dynamically or randomness is there. Okay, so it is not fixed that always the user 1 will be used frequency band 1, time slot 1. It's not like that. It is the random. Any time slot or frequency slot, it can be used by a single user. Okay. So what is the advantage of the CDMA over FDMA and TDMA, that is the, we can say that CDMA provide us a secure communication. Because now suppose 4 people in a room and all are speaking in same language, say Hindi. Okay, so say person 1 and 2 are communicating, person 3 and 4 is communicating. Both the communication is or conversation is happening using the language of Hindi. Okay, so now definitely in these two communication or conversation there will be a noise because both the languages are same. Now that two communication or two conversation, if you use using the two different languages, one is Hindi, another is English, then there will be no problem, because on port or language will not interfere to the other language. Okay, you are getting my point, that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now second thing is that how we are generating the frequency hopping mechanism. Basically the frequency hopping mechanism can be implemented through the use of pseudo-noise sequence. So random pseudo-noise sequence, have you generated this thing in any experiment before that? Pseudo-noise generation, I think maybe in the digital electronics you have done this thing, pseudo code generation or pseudo-noise generation.
No, sir.
No, so maybe tomorrow abhi this semester you have the communication system lab, na?
Yes, sir.
Maybe in that lab you will learn how to generate a pseudo noise or pseudo sequence. Pseudo means, that means in the pseudo sequence it is random, but there is some relation is there between the two consecutive beats or signal. Okay, now the fourth one is the space division multiple access. What is the space division multiple access? Basically in the multiple access technique, resource allocation is achieved by exploiting the spatial separation of the individual users. Basically this is the how means which space the user want to use the resource. Okay, and one thing is that all the multiple access should be the orthogonality in sense in time or frequency or space. If we consider the time division multiple access, in that case all the time slots should be orthogonal. For the frequency division multiplexing, it is frequency or orthogonality, space division the space or orthogonality is there. So now the network. So I will just give a brief about the network, because when you're talking about the communication, the network is required. Okay, so in this, say I have not, okay, there is a some round shape node is there and square shape is the station. You are getting this thing, the station and node in this figure. So whatever the circle is there, that is called the nodes, and whatever the rectangular shape is there, that is the station. So basically in the communication network, or simply network as shown in the figure, so what is there? There are some devices there, and the devices called the nodes, and the nodes are made up with the intelligent processor. That means the node has some capability to do some signal processing or processing. Okay, like a microcomputer. And these nodes are connected through a physical medium. When the nodes are connected through a physical medium, it constructs a network. Okay, now in the nodes, users or stations are connected through the nodes. That means whatever the station is written over there in this figure, these are the, we can say these are the users. Okay, and the node, these are the device. Device means when you are talking over phone or mobile, that means we can say the mobile is the one device, so it is a node, and when I am speaking, that means I am the station or user, end user. Okay. So all the all the connection will be route through the network. That means whatever the connection is coming to a network, it will be routed through the network. Okay. Normally there are two type of switching circuit is there, which is used basically for your network means any communication purpose. One is the circuit switch and second one is the packet switching. So what is the circuit switching and packet switching? Anyone have any idea? Circuit switching क्या है? Anyone have any idea what is circuit switching? Yes.
No, sir.
Acha. So normally that circuit switching, it provide a dedicated communication path or circuit between the two stations. That means, as I told, in the multiplexing, when the one channel is allocated for two users, no one can share that channel. So that is due to the circuit switching. Normally, in telephone, we are using the circuit switching. So now, suppose one frequency band is using by two users when they are speaking over the phone. That channel cannot be used by any other users. So that means that channel is fixed or dedicated for these two user or two station. Okay. Even though sometimes it may happen, these two users are not speaking or they are not communicating any information. Even though that time the channel is dedicated to them. So that means we can say the utilization of channel is less for the circuit switching, because when there is no communication or when the users are not sending any information, so they are engaging the channels. So that means the utilization, proper utilization is not happening to those channels. Okay. So normally these links, or basically whatever the path or circuit is established, is called as a link. We can say it is a link, and the link may consist of the time slot in the time division multiplexing system or frequency slot in the frequency division multiplexing system. Okay. So now if we using the time division multiplexing system, then what will happen? The whole time duration that will be fixed for or dedicated for the two station, and for the FDM system, the whole frequency band will be dedicated for those system. So in the packet switching, what is there? Basically, they are sharing the channel or resources on demand basis. That means whenever the resource is required for one station or two station, they will use the resources. After the demand is over, immediately the channel or resources will be free. It's clear? Circuit switching में क्या हो रहा है? The resources are dedicated to the two station, and packet switching, the resources are using whenever it is required. That means suppose two users require have some demand for using the resource, then only they will use. Otherwise, it will be free. If third person or third user or third system comes, they can use that resources when no one is using. Okay. So now, bolo.
So then we should always use packet switching only, no circuit switching.
That thing definitely we should go for the packet switching, but some disadvantage is there also. So every system have some advantage and some disadvantage. So the advantage is that for your circuit switching, there will be no delay because all the information going through the same path. Okay, and dedicated channel is there, so that means the SNR will be good. There will be no interruption, nothing is there. Okay, for the packet switching, definitely an disadvantage for the circuit switching we have said is, as I told, that is the utilization. The resource will not properly utilized. In packet switching, the resource will be properly utilized, but thing is that there will be a delay because two packets may use two different route. Suppose two packets, user A want to send two packets to user B through a network. Okay, so these two packets may go through two different paths or two different route. So in that case, since they are choosing two different paths, there may be a delay to arriving, means at the destination arriving of the packets. There may be a delay between two packets. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Delay. So that means this problem is there. That's why definitely in the internet we are using the packet switching because we want to utilize the your resources. But in some cases there where the resource utilization is not important. In that case, the quality of service is more important. Like say the banking system, okay, or secure some defense system. In the defense, it doesn't mean the whatever the bandwidth or resource utilization. But the thing is that it should be secure. It should be dedicated for those people. That's why whatever the frequency band used for defense purpose, that cannot be used by the commercial purpose. I think all of you know about this. Whatever the communication happened for the defense communication, they use different frequency band for the communicating purpose. Okay, and the commercial purpose, that frequency band cannot be used. So that means in that case, it is not matter how we are utilizing the resources. It is utilizing properly or not. Okay. So for that, there is another circuit actually in there that is called the virtual circuit. And the virtual circuit, what is happening? They are making a circuit switching like a single path, and they are sending packets through the same path. That means two things is there. All the packets will go through a same path, and the path will be used whenever there is a demand. So that is called the virtual circuit switching. This thing is there, but I will not go more in details of those things because it is a part of the network, means communication network. Okay. Now in the network, basically whatever the network architecture is there, it is divided into layers. Like, what is the advantage of the layers? When we divided a total job into the layers, then it will be organized and it will be more easier to process or handle all the data or information. Like in the Indian post system, any postal system, how do we do? Normally, when we want to send a letter to some relatives or some friends, how do we do? Normally, we write the letter, then we drop it in the drop box. Some postman come and collect it and bring to the post office. Then post office communicate through others, means either it could be communicated through the means road or railway or flight, depending on the post office. Then it will reach to the nearest post office of the end users. Then it will goes to the postman will bring the letter and it will drop the drop box of the sender. That means if we divided those things into the layers, it will be more easier. So that's why whatever the network architecture is there, it is divided into layers. Okay, and normally these layers in the OSI model, which is referred as the open system interconnection, and it is basically is a nothing else than the international, I mean, standard for the International Organization for Standardization. That means whenever a protocol or whenever a system we are using, that should be standardized. If the system is not standardized, then what will happen? Suppose one person is using on standard, say standard A, another person is using standard B. So there is a problem of the compatibility. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So like if you say that is a Mac or Apple, I mean your Apple laptop, in that they using the Mac operating system. Okay, and if you say this an iPhone, you will find there is a Bluetooth is here. But when you want to transmit something in this Apple iPhone, sometimes the other device may not be detected. Have you seen or observed that thing ever? For doing some operation, suppose you want to transmit a file from your iPhone to Android phone. Sometimes it will create a problem because they two things are the two different system. One is using the iOS, another is using the Android system. So there is a compatibility issue is there. Okay, that's why there that International Organization for Standardization, they make a common platform, and that is a OSI, Open System Interconnection. Open means it should be compatible. All the systems should be compatible with the same thing. So that means if I can remove a device from one system and connect to the other system, it should be work. It should work normally. Okay, so normally in the OSI model, there are 7 layers are there. The first one is the physical layer, then data link control. Is that picture is clear or visible?
Not clear, sir.
Okay, so actually this I copy from the books and paste over there. So what I will do, I will make it clear, and I will when I will post on this group or MS Team about these documents or files, so you will find the clear picture over there. So, okay, basically there are, so in on nodes there are 7 layers is there. First one is the physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and the application layer. And above that application layer is the end users. Okay, so these 7 layers are there. Each layer have some individual work to do. Okay, her means all the users are dedicated to do some particular work. Okay, and in the middle there is a intermediate nodes. Normally when we communicate through a intermediate nodes, only 3 layers is required. One is the physical layer, then data link layer, and your network layer. Okay, and source node and the destination node, all the 7 layers are important. Okay, so now for the digital communication, we normally use 3 layers of the OSI model. One is the physical layer, second one is the data link layer, and third one is the network layer. So physical layer, basically what is the physical layer? It is the lowest layer of the OSI model, and physical involvement of transmission of data. So that means when we are talking about the digital communication, that means the whatever the information we have, it should be sent through a physical medium, and that physical medium basically is the physical layer. Okay, so what is the thing is happening in the physical layer? So it will sorry, communication between the two nodes means the modulation at the transmitter and the transmission across the channel, and the demodulation at the receiver. Already I talked about this. So basically the Module for performing modulation and demodulation is often called as the modem. All of you heard about the modem, I think. Modem means modulation and demodulation. The device which can do modulation and demodulation, that is called the modem. Okay. So now the second layer is the data link layer. What is the purpose of the data link layer? Basically, so when we are transmitting a data or information through the physical layer, there will be a probability of error. So now when a errors information is reached to your destination, that time, depending on the protocol the system is using, the destination will request to the source to resend the data, because there is a error in that information or that package. Okay. And second thing is that flow control. That means flow control, how fast we transmit the data. If there is no flow control, then what will happen? Suppose from one place the data is coming higher rate and the output data rate is your lower. So what will happen? Initially it will store in buffer. After that, when the buffer is full, all the information will drop because there is no space to keep the information. So if we have a flow control, whenever we'll see the buffer is full, the data link layer will send to the upper layer, do not send any information right now because the buffer is full. So there will be no wastage of packet or there is no drop of packets. Okay. And the physical layer means data link layer, there is a one basically divided into two sub layer. One is called the data control layer and second one is the medium access control or MAC. I think all of you heard about the MAC layer, MAC address. MAC address के बारे में नहीं सुने हो? Okay, so in the MAC address, basically, it's control how the resource or medium will be accessed by the users. So whatever the multiplexing technique I told, multiple access techniques, so that thing will be controlled by the medium access control. So it will control which user should be use the resource, when it will be used by the resource. Okay, this is the function of the data link layer. Second one is the third one is the network layer. Network layer has the several function to do and determine the route for the information. That means the information we want to send from source to destination, which route it should follow for transmitting the information. So the network layer will decide that route. Okay. Okay. Now the basic block diagram for the digital communication, which is similar to the block diagram I have drawn previously for the communication system. So now if we compare with the block diagram with the communication system, so first block diagram is the same. Second block diagram within the dotted line is the transmitter. So normal communication system block diagram, the transmitter was there. And in the receiver, only receiver block diagram is there. So as I told that in the last class also, that transmitter is divided into sub blocks and the receiver also divided into sub blocks. These are the sub blocks in the transmitter, and these blocks are the source encoder, channel encoder, and modulator. In the receiver, the sub blocks are demodulator, channel decoder, and source decoder. Okay. So normally, what is the function of the source or source encoder or decoder? What normally it do? Source encoder removes the redundant information from the message signal and is responsible for efficient use of the channel. As I told that day also, some bits in a information which is redundant. If we remove those bits, there will be no problem to retrieve the exact information. So source encoder, what it will do? It will remove those redundant information. Okay. Resulting sequence, after removing the redundant bits, whatever the result sequence we will get or result symbols we will get, that is called the source code word. Okay. Now the source code word will go to your channel encoder. In the channel encoder, what it will do? It will add some extra information or extra bit or byte with the source encoder, so that if the information reaches to a destination with some error, it can be regenerated at the receiver. So for that, we need to add some extra bits. I think all of you, you study about the Hamming coding. Hamming coding to padhe ho na? Yes.
Sir, we read about that in microprocessor, means the parity bytes addition. all those-
Parity bits in the parity bits. Normally in the parity bits, what do you do? Suppose one bit sequence is there, 4-bit sequence.
Yes.
Depending by looking this 4-bit sequence, we add extra bits. Either it is a even parity or odd parity.
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? So that
Yes, sir.
extra bit we are adding, because what is the reason for adding that extra bit? Whenever that data will reach to your receiver, so that if there is a error, we can retrieve that or we can remove the error. Yes. So that
Yes.
means now that suppose the 4 bits is your source code word, now we are adding a single parity bits. That means the number of bits now 5. So that 5 is called the channel means code word. Means we are adding some extra bits. The reason is that so that when the signal will reach at the receiver, we can, if there is an error, we can retrieve the actual data. Otherwise, what will happen if we do not add any extra bits? Again, we need to resend the data. If there is error again, we need to resend. So how many times we want to resend the same data? That's why if we add some extra bits and we are able to detect any error from there, that will be good for us. So that's why the channel encoder is there. And modulator and demodulator is represents is symbols of the channel coder by corresponding analog symbols. That means whatever the code word is generated, channel code word is generated, we cannot transmit that channel code word through a transmission medium as it is, because that is a 1 bits. So what we want to do? First, we need to modulate that signal into the analog signals. Means analog signals in the terms of continuous signals, you can say, in the waveform. Normally we need to generate a waveform from the channel code word. So that waveform will transmit through the transmission medium. And how will generating the waveforms? By doing the modulation. Okay. So as I told, means the last class, as I told, there are different type of modulation is there. So we'll discuss all the modulation techniques one by one. So in the receiver, what will happen? First, demodulation means whatever the signal will receive at the receiver, it will first demodulate. Then there will be channel decoder. That means in the channel decoder, what will happen? It will check is there any error or not. from the error channel code word to it will make a actual data, then it will send to the source decoder, and from the source decoder we'll get the exact information which is sent by the source. Any doubt up to this? Any doubt in this block diagram? Because that is the important thing. Okay, block diagram for the digital communication system, because this is also same as when I discuss about the PCM, pulse code modulation. You will see there are a lot of similarities there. Okay, so now I will just go through the little bit over the Fourier transform. I think all of you know about the Fourier. This is the Fourier norm. First equation is the Fourier transform. Second one is the inverse Fourier transform. The first one, what we are doing, we are transforming a time domain signal into the frequency domain signal. In the second equation, we are converting a frequency domain signal to the time domain signal. Okay, so this is the analysis case for the interplay between the synthesis and analysis equation. So now in that way we can do in this lower part of the figure. Okay, these are the Fourier transform theory property. All of you know about this: linearity, relations, duality, time shifting, frequency shifting, then area under GT, area under GF, differential in the time domain, integration in the time domain, conjugate function, multiplication in the time domain, convolution in the time domain, correlation theorem, relay energy theorem, and the Parseval power theorems for a periodic signal with period of T0. I think all of you know about this, so I will not discuss. And these are the formula, because this formula we will use later on. Sometime it will be required. Okay, I think this figure is not visible that much. Is it visible or not?
No, sir.
Okay, basically in this figure, what is there, that in the table, basically if the time domain signal is your say rectangular signal, what should be the Fourier transform signal? Exponential function, what should be the corresponding value for the frequency domain? Okay, this thing is there in the table, already you studied. Okay, so I am ending over here for today's class. Next class we will discuss the next topics. So basically this is the introduction of the digital communication. So this is the introduction or basic portion for the digital communication. Okay. Okay. Now all of you just leave that meeting, and attendance will be recorded as that. All of you just quit the meeting. Leave the meeting, all of you. The class is over. I will taking the attendance from there. Just leave this. Rohit. Shaugatika and Swatantra. Leave the group. Leave the meeting. Who is there? Swatandra, leave the meeting.